Inflation data coming in cooler than expected. That's really good for us. Now that was a wrench was thrown in there with the federal budget coming in negative, way higher than expected. For the month, it was negative 307 billion. For the was it the fiscal quarter or whatever the read was? It was like over a trillion negative. So that's really bad. Those ones. Jobless claims came in as expected. Yesterday we got a cold CPI print. Today we got a cold core PPI print. These are all good things. Next week we have FOMC, and FOMC is watching this inflation very closely, and we know it's the White House's interest to get these things down, get inflation down, get interest rates down, so that they can move on to their next step of their program, which hopefully includes higher prices on equities. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those real quick. So we're looking at the SPY right now. We're below a lot of moving averages here. Let me bring up, let's see, this one and turn off that one. Okay. All right, so we're below the 200-day moving average, significantly below it, and that sucks. That's pretty bad. You can see the BX trender here, which is a mixture of MACD and RSI, is getting worse and worse and worse. Still, the stochastics are looking bad. This is a money flow index down here. That turned green yesterday, so that's interesting. We might get a relief bounce. It's very likely and very common to see, after a dip below the 200-day moving average, a retest of that from below. So that would be a move up to 572 on the SPY right now. On the QQQ, that would be a move up to 493, and then once that is through, we would potentially, it's either going to burst right through that 200-day moving average, or it's going to fall off from there. So watch that very closely. You can see the BX trender is actually looking better yesterday on the QQQ. We made a higher low there, so on the daily, so we could see it. I think there is argument for it to come back up to the 200-day moving average in the next few days, and then from there we see what happens, what the next news event decides for these stocks. Now let's do a real quick recap on our favorite Bitcoin miners. Well, first of all, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Actually, we're gonna look at Bitcoin real quick. Where is my Bitcoin? There it is. So on the daily, Bitcoin's been kind of hovering down here. I've got too many drawings. Let's remove some of these. Okay. So Bitcoin has been hovering down here, and we're hanging out at the 200-day moving average. Look at this. We came down from below. We came up and we touched it and we stopped. We stopped dead in our tracks. Okay. This is flagging here. Now, we do need to break out above, 85,000 or so to get above this little structure right here, which is, about 84, 84.3, 84,400, something like that. Now, we do need to get above that in order to start moving up towards the other moving averages up here. Let me turn off some of this other stuff I got on here. Go away. All right, and go away. All right, there we go. All right, yeah. So before we can move up to the 20 and the 50 and the 100-day moving averages. Okay, so we're watching that stuff closely. What's that blue line? Is that part of this one? I guess it is. Which one is the blue one? The 30. Okay, I'm going to turn that one off. Actually, I don't care about that one right now. All right. So, yeah. Basically, and we are seeing lower highs and lower lows right now on Bitcoin, as illustrated by this sort of structure here. And if we come here, we could make a lower low, which would have us tagging $75,000. To frustrate that, we need to get up and above. Honestly, we need to get up and above this little peak right here, which is about $93,000, or 92.9. We need to get above that to frustrate this lower high, lower low pattern here. And even then, we're still in this descending channel. So I'm really not super convinced that this is done until we're out of this descending channel down here. I think we're building the liquidity to do that. I just don't know when it's going to happen. I think it'll be soon. Again, don't know exactly when. Okay, let's go look at our Bitcoin miners. So these are things got obliterated recently, just absolutely obliterated. As you know, I closed out of the majority of my positions, and I'm kind of sitting on cash right now and waiting to see what is going to happen. We are still right in the middle of a trade war that continues to get heated. We are seeing, cold CPI prints. That's great, but who knows what's going to happen. We got FOMC next week, so I felt, not just felt, but I had my stop losses in place. I got tagged, and now I am waiting for some more clarity to come through so that I can get back into this market. Anyways, we came down. We formed a bit of a low on CleanSpark. We're beneath all the moving averages here. We need to start retaking some moving averages here. CleanSpark has a fight all the way up right now. Every single step of the way there is resistance, and there is thick resistance every step of the way, all the way up to $18. Okay, CleanSpark needs to quickly get above $18. Basically, we've got right where we currently are, we got resistance back here from September. Just above that, we've got resistance, the most recent resistance over here between, $10 and $12. Then we've got this set of resistance here from 12 to 15, and then from 15 to 18, we've got all this resistance back here. Tons and tons of pockets of significant resistance on the CleanSpark chart. So we need to get above those things in order to have even a chance of going any higher, and it's going to be a fight all the way up to 18. If you're like me, market just opened. I'm holding a lot of the warrants still. The warrants are the only thing I'm still really holding right now. I am buying long-term stuff like Tesla, Nvidia, QQQ that I will hold for months, years, maybe longer. We'll see what happens. If things like take off like 20-30% to the upside, I might sell those things sooner than expected. Anyways, this thing came all the way down to the 786, and it's holding the 786, which is a good sign. Okay, it's a good sign that's holding the 786. Now, this was super, super painful. I bought in originally at 19 cents. I went all the way up to 160. I sold in like the 120 range for like half of what I had held, which was a significantly lower amount than I have now. And then every time it hit a fib level, I bought a little bit more, a little bit more, and a little bit more, and I've been holding that, and I will continue to hold that for now. I may change that later in the future if things get bad, like if we start closing candles beneath the 786, then I'll start getting worried and sweating and potentially looking at closing my position here for a loss. But until then, I am holding long and strong on the CleanSpark warrants for now. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. If you are sweating about your positions, you have oversized those positions and you need to rethink your risk strategy, which basically meaning you don't have one and you are getting wrecked. So don't get wrecked. Have a risk strategy. Have a strategy. Don't take too much risk. Have an idea of where you're in and where you're out. Control your position size. Don't get too excited. Don't go all in on anything because, these are all conventional wisdoms of the market so that you don't get absolutely wrecked and you can live to trade another day. So again, if you are losing sleep over your positions, well, then you really need to rethink your risk strategy. And that is why I had my stop losses set in place so that I could sleep at night. Even with those in, I wasn't doing so hot. And then now that those have all triggered, I've been sleeping like a baby, waiting for my next move. All right, let's take a look at Mara. See, Mara is looking, so it's got a double bottom coming in down here potentially. I'm not interested until we're over $16. Until we're over $16 right here, we got this little structure in here on Mara right there. I want to see it get above the structure right there to indicate to me that we could be going up to the 200-day moving average, which would still only be $18.80 to $20 in this range here, where we are going to potentially get trapped and slap back down. So I'd watch that very, very closely. The BX trender is printing lower to give me a red dot. The stochastics are pointing straight down. The RSI is in bad territory, so Mara's not looking great yet, but I think it will look a lot better once it gets above this structure here, which is going to be around that $16 range. IREN came to the bottom of the range. I sold out the majority of mine between $8.80 and $7. My average was about $6.50. So it came all the way down to where I would have been fully break even on my IREN shares. Tapped the bottom of that now. This could turn around quick, fast, in a hurry, but I want to see a structure. I want to see it, honestly, I want to see it break out of this little tiny descending channel right here. I think that's going to act as the liquidity once it breaks out from that, and we're going to find it all the way back up to about $12 pretty quickly, as long as Bitcoin holds out. Of course, as long as Bitcoin holds out. If Bitcoin does not hold out, well, then we're not going to be doing so hot. This cup and handle is gone. It's not going to happen. It's over. All right. As soon as it fell out of this descending channel, that cup and handle from back here, that is done. All right, that's gone. Let's take a look at BTBT. I'm not going to do all of them right now. I'm just going to do some. BTBT is basing down here. It got pretty close to where I expected it to, almost hit that $2 range. It still could if we get a flush down on Bitcoin. Yeah, it could absolutely tag that $2 range. This thing is just getting lower and lower and lower until it breaks this orange line here. I don't think it's going anywhere to the upside, and even if when it does, I think it's going to hit the 200-day moving average around 330-ish and then get slapped back down. Bitfarms, if you're still holding Bitfarms, I am sorry. I warned about this back around like the 240s, the 250s, maybe even a little higher. I can't remember where I sold out of this thing. It was a while ago. I warned when we were back in this structure over here. I warned that this wasn't looking good, and it was likely to come down further, and it has come down significantly further, almost tapping $1 here. We got within pennies of $1 here. My line at 102 got super duper close to it. Now, again, I think once we're out of this, because we got a descending wedge right here, we got a descending wedge right there. Once we're out of that thing, I think Bitfarms has a chance to move up. But again, I think the 200-day moving average is going to be the area that it can't quite get above. So you might get a double up on your Bitfarms, and then that 200-day moving average, which is where all this resistance is here, which is where all the people who are still holding are underwater. That's where they're going to be jumping ship in order to break even. So you got a lot of sellers on top of your heads from 171 all the way up to like 240 on Bitfarms. So pay attention to that. Once you hit those zones, you're going to hit significant resistance. So Luna, am I still holding Soluna? I can't remember. I need to look. I might still be holding Soluna because it was such a small position in a 0 to hero. We're under 90 cents now. This thing is so far looking like a 0. I don't know if this is going to come back. I don't know if it's ever going to come back. Who knows? It is also in a falling wedge. It could do something. I'm still holding it, not because I have any belief in it more so than anything else, but because the position size was so small. I don't really care if it goes to absolute 0. It doesn't really matter. It wasn't much more than the cost of, say, a half decent dinner that I put into this thing, and I don't particularly care if it goes to 0, so that's fine. I'm willing to hold it and see what happens. Cypher broke beneath, it stopped being one of my favorite charts. It broke beneath the ascending channel here. It's coming all the way to the base. It came all the way to critical support. Everything came to critical support down here. All right. Hit that. We're basing now. Once we, okay, so this is what we're looking for. We're looking for the same sort of structure that we got right here. Okay, we're looking for it to give us some sort of double bottom, one big green candle. We get one big green candle and it all kind of turns around and we're headed on our way back up. That's what we're watching for down here. So far, we have not gotten one big green candle. We've got lots of big red ones, but not one big green one. Okay, I'm looking for a big green candle on Cypher that breaks above 364. I get that. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and start saying that Cypher's coming back to the 200-day moving average, maybe even the 100-day moving average if we're lucky, maybe even the top of this ascending channel here, which it has done several times before. Okay, let's see how Corsi is doing. Does Corsi look any better than it did before? Kind of, but not great. It's still in this descending channel, so it could still easily break to the downside. We could still easily see it come back down to my ultimate white line down here at 611. It may or may not do that. We'll see if it breaks the 20-day moving average, which is this white line, which is also the top of this descending channel. If we break that, well, then I think that we're headed for the 200-day moving average, potentially even the 100-day moving average after that. And Corsi will be back on its way to the upside from there. Again, I'm looking for some sort of bottoming signal. I want to see one big green candle come through. Now, these are nice green candles here, but they're not that big. They're nice little gaps up. I want to see maybe some kind of consolidation or some kind of breakup above this gap here to like 961. I'd like to see that on Corsi, and then I might start saying, singing a different tune. MicroStrategy, we're going to talk about them real quick. They came down to the 200-day moving average, went up to the 100-day moving average, got slapped back down to the 200-day moving average. I don't know what it's doing. It's kind of halfway following Bitcoin, but not really, because Bitcoin was doing pretty good while MicroStrategy was dumping for a little while there. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about this one. I really want to see it break this white line above the once it's back above the moving averages, which would be above right now 323. Well, then MicroStrategy I think has a chance again to go up to like 407, maybe even 446. But unless Bitcoin like really makes a new high, I don't really see MicroStrategy doing a whole lot. Coin's been getting interesting as well. This is the last thing we're going to talk about. Coin has been getting interesting. Coin is giving us like a nice little basing pattern in here. Again, one big green candle. I'd like to see it above 206. Above 206. I'm thinking Coinbase is going to move up to the 200-day moving average. If we conquer the 200-day moving average, well, then I'll be looking for it to come up to the 100-day moving average, which is also coinciding with the 0.5 Fibonacci level from top to bottom of the previous swing. So we're going to be watching for that here, and I might start drawing some fibs the other direction, something like this. Let me go like this, something like this, right? And see like, okay, where is it coming back to this way? Like the 618 back to this direction would be something like coming all the way to this red line right here, which would be like 254. That's cool. So I might start drawing fibs like that, which coincide a lot with the descending channel there. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. Things are, they're trying to recover. They're looking a little bit better than they did before, but again, they're still not like great quite yet. We're still in some up, down, all around kangaroo markets. It will continue to be that way while the trade war is going on. FOMC next week will give us a lot of clarity on what's going to happen. That's going to be a huge market mover next week, Wednesday. Keep that on your calendar. If you don't like volatility, maybe avoid that day. And of course, always remember that nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. It is up to you to have a plan. It is up to you to understand what positions you want to take, how much risk in those positions you are willing to handle, where you will cut your losses if you take losses, where you will take profits when you take profits, and always control position sizes, control emotions. It is really, really important to understand risk management. Otherwise, you will get wrecked over and over and over again and lose sleep while doing it. So anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.